Now, dear friends, I was talking about the results and interpretation, and I have written the 4.2.0, and here I have given the data in this particular table 4.1, summary of one-way ANCOVA, because and for ANCOVA you have to write y dot x. Now you have to interpret it like this from table 4.1. It can be seen that the adjusted F value is 39.41, which is significant at 0.01 level with DF equal to 1/56, because strategy of teaching is 1 and error is 56, not total. So it indicates that there is a significant difference in adjusted mean scores of achievement in Hindi, mean scores of achievement in Hindi of students belonging to concept attainment model group and lecture method group by considering their pre-achievement in Hindi as covariate. Thus, the null hypothesis that there is no significant. Let me copy and paste this portion. Thus, the null hypothesis that there is no significant difference in adjusted mean scores of achievement in Hindi of students belonging to concept attainment group and lecture method group by considering their pre-achievement in Hindi as covariate is rejected. Now, once I write is rejected or is not rejected, the hypothesis has been tested, but the interpretation is not complete. Then I should say further, the adjusted mean score of achievement in Hindi further, the adjusted mean score of achievement in the of student belonging to concept attainment group is 23.84, which is significantly higher than those of lecture method group whose adjusted mean score of achievement in Hindi is 18.49. It may be said that concept attainment model was found to be significantly superior to lecture method in terms of achievement in Hindi. achievement in Hindi of students. When their pre-achievement in Hindi was taken as covariate. Now, this is how you should analyze the data, and this is how you should write the interpretation. So therefore, this what I have done. Now you have other objectives. Your other objectives are here in chapter number 1, or we can take it from chapter number. This also I can take, no problem. I will convert them. Now then it will be 4.3.0, and here it will be the same I have to write, and by taking pre-achievement in Hindi and vocabulary in Hindi, as covariates. And then you can write here the second objective was to compare adjusted mean scores of this, and now you can analyze your data the way you have done, and then you can write the interpretation. And then you have to have another one, 4.4.0. The objective was to study the effect. So here, effect of teaching strategy, gender, and their interaction on achievement in Hindi of students by taking their pre-achievement in Hindi, and I think vocabulary also, yes, and vocabulary in Hindi as covariates. So you should say the third objective was this. And then you can write the similarly. I'm not giving the results because I have not got the data and I have not analyzed. I'm just telling you this is how you should write. and here it will be locale and then here will be the so this was 4 and this will be 5. The fourth objective was to study their interaction. So you can do this. Now, once you have done all this, then 4.6.0 will be findings. And here I can write my first finding was, you can say the following were the findings of this study. And the one interpretation I have done, and you can write the finding from there. Here it may be said that you can say here, concept attainment model was found to be significantly superior to lecture method in terms of achievement in Hindi of students when their pre-achievement in Hindi was taken as covariant. So this becomes my one of the finding. So I will just copy this. So this is how you have to have another one. So you have 4 objectives. So you will be having the 4 findings. So this is how this particular chapter is supposed to be written. Any question you want to ask? Any question you want to ask? Then I am going to the next one. Chapter 5th. And chapter 5th will be discussion. My dear friend, large number of the researchers do not write this particular chapter. They will be writing few lines in support of their finding in the results and interpretation chapter only. But according to my understanding, that is technically incorrect. Since you know the findings, so you should be able to discuss your findings in the light of the findings of the earlier researches. And also you should be able to give your reason of the present finding. So looking to this, it is important that you must write it separately. So therefore, a separate chapter is required for discussion. And the 5.1.0 will be introduction. And here I will write the results and interpretation has been the results and interpretation has been presented objective wise in the previous chapter. In the same chapter, the findings in the same chapter, the findings of this study have been presented. The present chapter is devoted to the discussion of each finding. The discussion has been done in the light of findings of the related researches as well as the possible regions of the present finding. This has been presented objective wise. Now it is 5.2.0. Results and interpretation, because interpretation is only one, and for you understand this, these are called the results. 4.2.1.79, 599.30. These are the results. And interpretation is only this. This is the interpretation. So it is one. That is why I have written has been. It is not have been. Because I am taking both of them as one, not two different. These are not two different things. These are exactly the one. Because the interpretation cannot be done without the result. You cannot only present the result without having interpreted it. Because the result by themselves may not mean anything to you or to any other person. So that is why it is singular. If you see the horse and cart, is or are, Bahadur, horse and cart is /r on the road. What will be your answer, Bahadur? Bahadur, I am asking, is because you are taking both of them as one. Because cart cannot be on the road without the horse. So that is why horse and cart are taken as one. And because of that, you are writing is. But if I say the horse and the cart is /r on the road, what is your answer? The horse and the cart, or the cart and the horse is /r on the road. What is your answer, Bahadur? Bahadur, I am asking you. Because here you have to write R. Why? Because you have written the cart and the horse. They are two different things. But when I say the cart and horse, it is one. So Bahadurji, it is English. So if you want me to teach you grammar, I can teach grammar, no problem at all. So therefore, you have to write R. Anyway, we go ahead. So now, here here you have written the caption. That first caption. The same caption you have to write here. This much you have to write in the discussion chapter. Here, treatment-wise, the first objective was to compare this. The finding was, now you know the finding. This was the finding. So you can say the finding was this. Now here, so you have given the objective, and related to this, you have given the finding. Now you have to see that this finding was supported by, now here you can write the name of the people, whatever the review of the related literature you have written, and in review of the related literature, you can find what are those researchers whose findings support this particular one. Then you can write was supported by, I'm just writing like that only. Singh, 1996. Ram, and Sham. So this finding was supported by this and contradicted by Sharma and Goyal. Because either your finding will be supported or your finding will be contradicted. Now you should write the reason. I'm not writing the reason. So now, because you have written that this finding was supported by this and contradicted by this and this. Contradicted means your finding and their finding was not the same. That's the meaning. Now you have to write the reason. The present finding might have been now here you have to write the reason, and the reason will be from your own. That is why this discussion chapter is the original contribution of the researcher. Because most of the reasons which he or she is giving are the outcome of the understanding of the researcher. So therefore, this is how this chapter is to be written. So then you can go to the next and you can go to the next. There are four objectives. So you have to have 4 captions here and write for each one of them separately. Bahadur, why are you jumping? Bahadur, did I say that I have completed this particular topic of the thesis writing? I have not completed yet. So why are you jumping to the implication? Bahadur, this is the main problem with you. You do not concentrate on what I am saying. You unnecessarily jump, and that is against your understanding. Now, Bharti, the reason whatever you will give cannot be the specific. The reason which you will give, they will be the probable reasons. So, Bharti, you cannot talk of specific regions. It has to be the probable regions. There may be a specific answer of a particular question, not probable answer. But as far as discussion is concerned, the reason which you are giving, they are not the specific one, may not be. And it is very difficult to give the specific reason. These are the probable reason. That is why I said might have been. I'm saying the present finding might have been due to this. So that's what you have to write. Now, once you have completed the discussion, then the next chapter will be the summary chapter. Chapter number 6 will be the summary. Findings and implications. Now, this is the chapter which must be written, and you know, when you are writing the abstract of your thesis, because when you are submitting your thesis, you have to submit the abstract also. And what are the things to be included in the abstract can be taken directly from this chapter number 6, which is the summary, findings and implications. In the abstract, you need not to write implications. So you can just take summary and findings and can copy paste. So now here it is 6.1.0 is introduction. You should say the details of this study have been presented in previous chapters. In the present chapter, the summary of this study is being given under headings. Now here is a rationale. Then statement of problem. Then objectives. Then hypothesis. Then methodology. Then findings. Then and implications. So in the present chapter, the summary of this study is being given under headings like this and this in separate captions. Now your 6.2.0 will be rationale. You have already written rationale in chapter number 1. So you can Ambika, I will tell you in case of philosophical and historical research, how to do that. I will tell you, don't worry about it. Let me finish this first. So the rationale you will be writing exactly the one which you have written in chapter number 1. If you want, you can copy paste, or if you want to abridge it, you want to shorten it, you can shorten it. And then you can write 6.3.0 statement of problem. This you have written in chapter number 1, so you can copy and paste. 6.4.0 objectives. Again, you can copy and paste from chapter number 1. Then 6.5.0 is hypothesis. Again, from chapter number 1, you can copy and paste. After that, it is methodology. And this will be 6.6.1 is sample. 6.6.2, the sample you have written in chapter number 3. So you can take the information, abridge it, shorten it, and write it here. Then 6.6.2 will be the tools, which we have written in chapter number 3. So you can take it from there. Then 6.6.3. If it is an experimental design, then you can write whatever you have given in chapter number 3. Then 6.6.4 will be procedure of data collection. You have given in chapter number 3, you can copy from there and paste. Data analysis you have already written in chapter number 3, you can copy and paste here. 6.7.0 findings. The following were the findings of this study. Now, you have already written the findings in the 4th chapter, so you can copy and paste here. So you have the 4th objective, so you will have the findings. Now, once you have written this, then we come to implications. Now, implication means what? Implication means that you should try to write who will take the benefit of your research. So who will be the beneficiaries? Now it depends upon if you are having a research related to marketing, then you know customer can be there, the industry people can be there, the managers can be there, the advertisers can be there. So like this, you can think of that who can be benefited from your findings and how will they use your findings. So here, this particular finding may be the principal, the administrator or the principal may be the beneficiary, the teacher may be the beneficiary, the student may be the beneficiary, the parents may be the beneficiary, the textbook writer may be the beneficiary. So then you can write the implications that this is the findings of this study can be useful to principal, teachers, students, parents, and textbook writers. The findings of this study can be useful to this. The details are given in separate captions to follow. Now here it is 6.8.1 is principle. Now you have to write how the principals will benefit. You'll say that the concept attainment model was found to be superior to lecture method in teaching Hindi concepts. Now, if this is the one, then the principal should arrange, or the principal should help their teachers to be trained in the use of concept attainment model. This can be done for all teachers of the institute irrespective of the subject, because irrespective of the subject, because there are concepts in each subject, and most of the teachers teach concepts with the help of lecture method, which is not the appropriate method of teaching concepts. Now, you know, something like this, how this, the finding can benefit the principal, how this finding can benefit the student, how this finding can benefit the textbook writing. This is how you people should write. Now, I'm not writing all others. I have given just one simple example to illustrate that how this, and you cannot copy the discussion and implication is 100% the original contribution of the researcher. Now, once you have written this, then your thesis writing, the chapter writing is all right, but you have to write the references. Now, before I go to the references, some of the participants, they want that if it is a philosophical research and if it is a historical research, then how do we write the thesis? So let me take one example, and I will be telling you if it is philosophical, you do this. If it is historical, you do this. And then I will tell you how to write the bibliography. In the thesis, you should not write the reference. The references are only to be written in paper, not in the thesis. I've already explained the point why it is not. So now I'm talking about the historical thesis or the philosophical one. My dear friends, your top page will remain the same. I'm not talking about that. Your inner page where your guide, certificate and your acknowledgement will remain the same. The content will remain the same. You have to see the content. Now you have to go to the chapters. Your chapter 1 will be the same introduction. Now this will be introduction. Now, if you are talking about the historical research, then your historical research must be related to a particular event, whether it pertains to Aurangzeb or it pertains to some other one. If it is a philosophical one, then it has to be related to the philosopher. So then you can write that this study was related to, if it is a philosopher, then you write the philosopher, the name, whatever it is. Or if it is a historical one, then whatever the event that you are trying to write. Then you say that in this chapter, now, when you are writing this particular chapter, the main purpose is that you have to talk about, if it is a philosophy, then you have to talk about the philosophy. What exactly was the philosophy of that person? Because without understanding the philosophy, I will not be able to understand the other aspect of it. So I have to talk about that philosophy. And it has not to be a very long one. You may write in 1 page or 2 pages, or maybe less than that. If it is a historical event, then you have to write that what was that historical event. Okay, so I'm not writing that. That becomes the, okay, so that's what you have to write. And after that, you have to write the rationale. As rationale is written, that why exactly you thought of doing the research on this particular philosopher. Why? What motivated you? What happened? What prompted you? And then you should write the statement of problem. And then you should write objectives. There cannot be any hypothesis here. So objectives, and then you write delimitation. Because you may not be able to give all the aspects of that particular event or that particular philosopher, the ideas. Philosopher means the ideas. So this is what you have to write in chapter number 1. So therefore, I'm not giving what can be the heading for this. I'm not giving that heading. I'm giving 1.4.0 is rational. If you do not want to write the word rational, you may write the word significance of the problem, or importance of the problem, or need and importance of the problem. The choice is yours, no problem at all. Then 1.5.0 is statement of problem. And you should know how to write the title for the historical research or the philosophical research. Here in this particular webinar, I am not giving that in detail. Otherwise, in my next program, which will start from 9th, I will take example from each subject and will tell how to write the title, how to write the objective. But here I am not giving because time is not there. Then 1.6.0 will be objectives. I'm not writing the objectives, so you can write whatever is there. Then delimitations. Now that complete your chapter number 1. Your chapter number 2 will be will be review of related literature. Now, here we 2.1.0 is introduction. The way I have written introduction for the earlier one, the same you will write here. The rationale along with objectives along with objectives has been given. Bahadur, here this has is because of the rationale. It is English, my dear friend. The rationale along with objectives has been given in chapter 1. The present chapter is devoted to review of related literature, which is being written under headings. Now you can think of the headings as I have written earlier. So you can write the same way, no problem at all. You can think of the headings. I'm not giving you the headings because I have not taken a particular topic, but this is what you have to write. And if you are giving the review of the related literature, then what you should do is that if you are giving this under 3 headings, then you write 3 headings, 2.3.0 and maybe 2.4.0, and then 2.5.0 will be sum up. Or you can say the gist. Now this sum up is very important. I don't know, Saina, should I say yes or not? Because this is not related to what I am talking right now. You people, I will give you better time, then you can ask me such questions which are not related to the topic. Let me first complete the topic, whatever I am doing. Let me finish that. You can keep your, don't wait for the answer. You have to ask me again. Please ask only those questions which are not related to the topic which I am doing, that you should ask me later on when I ask. Every day I ask you any question you want and you don't ask at that point of time. So please let me first complete. I'm not answering your question right at the moment. So Ambika Singh, I'm talking about what you were asking. I don't know whether you are the only one or there are many other. I don't know. Now, my dear friend, after the second chapter, because in the historical research, there may be something like a methodology. Okay? In philosophical research, there can also be a methodology. But the headings of the methodology will be very different. In case of philosophy, you have to see how many, you have to refer to the primary source. For the historical research, you can refer to the primary source as well as the secondary source. But as far as philosophy is concerned, you cannot have a secondary source. You have to have the primary source. Therefore, in the methodology, this is chapter 3. You can write 3.1.0 is introduction. You can say the review of related. If you want, you can write the first one as capital, no problem. The review of related literature has been given in the previous chapter. In this chapter, the methodology followed in conducting philosophical research, oblique historical is being presented under captions. Like, you have to write the captions. And what will be the caption? For philosophical research, you have to write the primary source. Okay, so therefore, you will be writing 3.2.0 primary source. Primary sources. So you have to see how many primary sources that you had read, consulted, and seen, and you have to give the reference of that. So you have to write the one paragraph or maybe two paragraphs. Then you have to write procedure of data collection. Now, as far as the historical research, you will be writing the primary sources and you will be writing the secondary sources. If you have not used the secondary source, no need of writing. But if you are using, then you should write. And then you should write the procedure of data collection. How did you collect the data? And then will be data analysis. Here you can say the content analysis was used for analyzing the qualitative data. So that completes your chapter number 3. Now you have to go to your chapter number 4. Say, if I can give example from education, that if you are doing the historical research on some education, then the Kothari Commission is the primary source. If you are consulting the new education policy 2020, the primary source. So the primary source is the source which is, see, the book which, if you have written a book, then your book is the primary source. If I'm reading so your book, then your book will become a primary source because I'm quoting you. My dear friend, there is no primary data, there is no secondary data. That is what you people do not understand. Data can be qualitative and quantitative. There is nothing like primary data, there is nothing like secondary data. Your teachers have given you wrong information. You should have asked the data. Data means what? Information. Your information can be qualitative or it can be quantitative. There is nothing like primary data, nothing like secondary data. It is wrong. So how can I answer the wrong question which you are asking? So my dear friend, that is wrong. There is a primary source and the data can be qualitative or can be quantitative. There can be secondary source. The data can be qualitative or the data can be quantitative. Now, if I have written something about the education policy, now my book will become a secondary source. Why? Because I was not part and parcel of the team which drafted the new education policy 2020. I have written about the 2020, maybe I might have taken some aspect from the book, from the report, but I might have given my own interpretation. So that becomes the secondary source. So you have to be very, very careful. See, when you are talking about the Mahatma Gandhi. If you want to do a research on the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi, then you should read the books written by Mahatma Gandhi only. You cannot read the book which has not been written by Mahatma Gandhi, but written by somebody else. And who talked about the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi? That is a secondary source. And in philosophy, you cannot take secondary source. In philosophy, you have to have a primary source. You cannot absolutely, you can't have the secondary. In historical, you have to have the secondary source. If the primary source is not available, or if primary source is limited, you have to go to the secondary one. So that's what exactly you have to do. Now, here, this is your, the name in the quantitative research, you can do it, results and discussion, results and interpretation. But here, the name you can give whatever is the first objective. So this particular chapter may be according to your objective. Or if you want, you can write that also. So if I'm just taking one example, if it is a Mahatma Gandhi, then you can say Mahatma Gandhi, the educational thoughts of Mahatma Gandhi. You can write something like this. I'm just loudly thinking along with you. So you may write the educational ideas of Mahatma Gandhi. Okay. And then you can write here the introduction. Then in this one, in the earlier one, earlier chapter, this is done, and here this is done. The way I have done. Then another can be you may have another chapter, maybe something like the curriculum. I don't know, it depends upon your objective, that whether you have curriculum or not. Curriculum as per Mahatma Gandhi. So like this, you can think of dividing your chapters, something like this. And then the last chapter, you can write your summary and findings. Implications, I don't know whether you will be able to write or not, because philosophy is something of the person who is not here right now, and his philosophy may not be very relevant in today's time. The history event has already passed. I don't know whether we can talk about the educational implications. I'm not very sure about it. So those who are in this particular area, they can think whether you can think of some implication or not. Otherwise, your last chapter The last chapter may be 7th or 8th, I don't know. I'm writing 6th. Then it can be summary. I will say and findings. But if you think that you can think of the implications, you can write. I'm not very sure about it. Amika, I have given one example that if you take the 2020 new education policy, and if you take information from there, then that is called primary source. If you are working on Mahadevi Verma, the books written by Mahadevi Verma will become the primary source. And if somebody else is writing about Mahadevi Verma, that becomes a secondary source. If you are reading the books written by Munshi Premchand, then Munshi Premchand books are the primary source. But if some other author has written about the ideas of the Munshi Premchand, then that becomes a secondary source. I hope now, do you want some more examples to illustrate primary and the secondary, or have you understood? Ambika. If Raju, you have not understood, I'm sorry, I cannot help. Because here I have not to teach what is historical research, what is philosophical research. Here I am only just to tell you that how it has to be written. So now, once you have written this, now after that, now you have to write the bibliography. And this bibliography includes your references as well as those books which you read but you did not refer. So both referred and non-referred will be the part of the bibliography. Bharti, how can historical chapter 4, 5, 6 can be same as that earlier? Earlier, I did not write like that. Earlier, I wrote results and interpretation. Here, I have not written like that. So I don't know what you are writing. What exactly the question you are asking, I'm not very sure about it. So I cannot answer. Because here example I have given is not from historical research. I have given here the philosophical one. Because I have talked about Mahatma Gandhi. If you want for that, for historical research, the historical research, this may be that don't have this as a one, you can say if it is British period and you want to say the curriculum, during British period. Another can be the administration during British period. Another can be examination system during British period. So something like this. I'm not very sure what more you can write. So this is how you can write. Now, once you have written all this, then my dear friend, everywhere you have to write the references. So now I'm going to the bibliography. You should understand one, that normally the bibliography which people write or the references which people write, they take American Psychological Association format. I told the other day to you people that it's not compulsory that you have to follow that particular format. But if your guide insists on it, please then follow the format, whatever APA format is. It is available online. You can take it and you can do it accordingly. Absolutely no problem in that. I personally do not feel why should we copy or why should we follow? It's not something standard. It's not a formula. That standard deviation formula for computing standard deviation or mean formula, it's not something that specific. Important is that you should be able to give the complete information so that the reader can trace the original. That is the purpose. There is no other purpose. If you allow me to say, I will even say why to give these references. No need of giving bibliography. Whatever you have written, people should have a faith in writing, in your writing. But nevertheless, since it has to be written, so you should write. And if your teacher insists on a particular format, please follow that format. I'm not against. But my personal understanding is there is no need of following it there. You can have your own format. Now, this bibliography must be arranged according to alphabetic order, not according to the year. So it has to be according to the alphabetic order. You know the last name of the person. So therefore, you have to write the last name of the person and initial. And in the last name, in my last name is Sansanwal. So it is S. So you know where S should come. So now when you have to write, the references, then you will be writing the reference of the thesis. You will be writing the reference of the article which is given in the journal. So there are different sources from where you have taken the information, and therefore you will be writing the references. So therefore what you have to do is, let me give you the references for the thesis. So it has to be arranged alphabetically, not according to thesis or paper. But I am telling you, if it is a thesis, then you know the last name, and thesis has to be of one person, last name and initial. If it is P.K. Gupta, then Gupta becomes the last name and P.K. becomes the initial. And then you should write the year. This is the year of submission. Because when you are submitting your thesis, the year is given there. And then you have to, the colon, then title of your thesis. And then you have to put a full stop, and then you write unpublished. Unpublished PhD. And then in the bracket, you can write the name of the subject, name of the discipline. If it is economics, then you write PhD in the bracket economics. If it is psychology, you write in the bracket psychology. If it is management, you write in the bracket management. If it is English, you write in the bracket English. If it is history, you write in the bracket history. If it is education, you write in the bracket education. So that's the meaning of the discipline. Either you say discipline or you can say subject. Then you have to write the name of the university. So this is how you have to write the reference of the thesis. Then you have to write the reference of the paper, because you will be referring to the paper, and these are the papers which are published in the journal. And your paper might be written by one person, or two people jointly might have written, or three people might have written jointly, or more than three. So if it is your last name, comma, initial, then year, then column, then your name of the paper, then full stop, name of the journal, I will talk about the e-journal later. So name of the journal, and then you have to write the volume, and then you have to write the number, and then you have to write the pages. Now, many a times you need not to write the volume as a heading. What you can write is something like this also. That instead of this, you can write this, and in the bracket you can write this. Now, when the first one means this is your volume, sorry, this is your volume and this is your number, because there might be a journal which is being published every after 3 months. So you may have 4 volumes. So this is how you have to write. So volume, and this is the number. So number can be 2, can be 3, can be 1. And then of course you have to write the pages. It is from this page to this page. Now it is quite possible you may have now italics has almost gone. If you want, the people write the name of the journal in italics. If you want that, you can do it. I don't really bother much of this. Here I have written colon. If your APA says full stop, you can write full stop. It doesn't matter. If you want, you can put a full stop. Perfectly correct. Nothing wrong. If you don't want the colon, you can write full stop. It's perfectly correct. All right. No problem at all. Now, it is quite possible that there may be 2 or 3 people who are writing. So the last name of the first person, initial, and then you write and, last name, and then initial. The second person, and rest will be as it is. If you have more than 3, then you can write the last name of the first person, initials, and then you say ETAL dot. It means at all. At all means and others. So if there are more, then you can write something like this. If it is a book, if you have referred the book, then it's quite okay. What you have to do is that if book is written only by one person, then you can write this is the name of the book, then full stop, and then you have to write name of the publisher, and then you have to write the place, and then you have to write the pages. Now, if you want to write the name of the place first, then you can write like this also. That name of the place, you are writing before the name of the publisher, name of the place, and then colon, then name of the publisher, and then pages or page. If there are more people, you can write the more as you wrote at all. If there are many, then you can write at all. Now, if suppose there is a book which is edited book, because this is the book which is not edited. In the edited book, if you are having a chapter, so therefore edited book where chapter is there, now if it is a edited book and you have a chapter in this edited book, then your last name, comma, initial, and then it will be the year of publication, and then you have to say ED. ED means editor. That means it was edited. And then you write the title of the book, and then you can write the name of the place as I did earlier, colon, then publisher, name of the publisher. And if you have a pages, then you can write pages. Now, if you have taken something from the website, if from the website, then what you have to do is, you know the last name, initial, and then the year, then colon, then title of the paper that you must be getting it, and then address of the website. And then the time of access and the date of access. Why? Because in on their web page, people keep on changing. So maybe they have written something today and next day they might modify, and therefore what you are quoting, you may not find that. So that is why it is important that you must mention all these things. So I think this is all I have to say. And last but not the least, hope you have benefited to some extent. I do not guarantee that Sao, when I'm saying pages, you have to write the page number. I have written PP. When you are, whether you are writing bibliography or not, I'm not very sure. You have to write. Raju, if you have only one page, then you say P. If you have many pages, then you say PP dot. So if there is only one P, that means only one page you are referring. If you are referring 2 pages, then you have to write PP. That is why everywhere I have written PP. PP means the more than one page you are writing. Now, Sao, in that thesis, you should write the word bibliography, because it is quite possible that you may give the reference of a book which you have not quoted inside the text of your thesis, but you might have referred. For example, there is a book on statistics, you might have referred it for analysis. So you may like to give the reference of that book. So that is why we do not write the word references, we write the word bibliography. Bibliography includes references also. So I hope how you have understood where to write references and where to write bibliography. In your paper, you cannot write bibliography. Now, Bharati, it's very simple that you know the name D.S. Kothari. You know the Secondary Education Commission. You know the year published. You know the place of publication. Everything is there, so you can write it, no problem. The way you did it for the book, the same way for the, because book means it is printed. It may be a report or it may be a book, anything. Anything printed, you know how to write the references. Because when that commission report is there, there is a title, there is a person like D.S. Kothari. Okay, and in this one, in this NEP 2020, you know the name of the person. Sorry, I'm not going, I have already taken half an hour extra. So thank you very much for joining. If you have benefited, then you can start joining my next lecture on basics of research and fundamentals of research. Because during this interaction, I came to know that you people are very, very weak in fundamentals of research. So it's very difficult. So therefore, well, it's up to you. If you want to take the benefit, you can take. Thank you very much. See you sometime.